Good morning and welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Monday, January 12th. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps. We're down 0.5%, 0.50% this morning. The markets are really reacting to a politically charged backdrop. Sentiment is cautious as Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell disclosed that the Fed received grand jury subpoenas from the DOJ. I mean, he's calling this a broader effort to, pressure the central bank to lower interest rates and to challenge its independence, and that's got the market a little bit spooked this morning. It will likely blow over, but for right now this morning, it is a source of big negativity. There are multiple FOMC speakers today, and tomorrow we get the December CPI data coming out. But I wouldn't be surprised if we hear some commentary from them over this subpoena action. What else do we have? Political discord in Iran remains a key global risk. Got to keep an eye on that for the energy markets. And also, speaking on the energy markets, on Capitol Hill, the Senate may unveil additional sanctions on Russian oil this week. We got to keep an eye on that. On Friday, the Senate report allegedly aggressive marketing tactics used by UNH in terms of Medicare payments. They were pretty negative. You look at UNH, it's trading lower this morning. In corporate news, credit card stocks, they're under pressure. President Trump's calling for a 10% cap on credit card interest rates beginning January 20th. This is kind of concerning because he doesn't have the legal authority to do this. He's just telling them to do it. We'll have to wait and see if this happens. But the credit card stocks are weakening this morning. In deal news, we got Aviva. They're acquiring, manufacturing facility and IP from West Pharmaceuticals, WST. Eli Lilly, LLY, is apparently preparing a $17.5 billion bid for ABVX. It's a French company. Merck, their discussions are fluid with RVMD, Richard Victor Mary David. That's a $30 billion acquisition. I mean, it's a busy stretch of large cap pharmaceutical deal making, that's for sure. Supreme Court on Friday, they didn't make an announcement on the IEEPA tariffs, but they could come Wednesday. They're going to be making another comments on Wednesday, so let's keep an eye out for that. On the earnings front, nothing this morning or this afternoon, but tomorrow morning we got JP Morgan, Delta Airlines, and Bank of New York, BK, all reporting earnings. Taking a look on the global market, and we're looking at the DAX. The DAX is higher by 0.47%, supported by optimism surrounding a potential EU-India free trade deal. That's lifting sentiment, especially in the export-orientated sectors. Then you get the FTSE. The FTSE has turned from negative to positive. It's up, a tenth of 1%. Gold miners extending their strong rally, following another record high in gold prices. Then you got in CAC in Paris, which was negative all morning. It's now green. Financial stocks are kind of weak, so, we've got to keep an eye on that index. Then we're looking over at Asia last night, and, the Nikkei in Japan, that was closed for a holiday. They didn't trade last night. But Hong Kong jumped 1.44%, lifted by gains in tech, consumer, and property names. In China was up 1.09%. They saw strength in commercial space companies and AI-related stocks. Remember, Chinese officials signaled increased fiscal and policy support aimed at stabilizing growth and strengthening domestic demand. So that's good for those markets. And then we're taking a look at oil this morning, and oil is weakening. We got WTI trading lower this morning. It's down 0.37% to 58.90. Brent is at 63.18. They were trading a little lower, but they're trading just edging higher in the last 20 minutes or so. I mean, sentiment is really being weighed down. I mean, because of the potential return of Venezuelan crude to the global markets. But that unrest in Iran, that's going to be a key issue. And tomorrow, there's talk that President Trump is going to be having a meeting where they're going to be discussing the Iran situation with him in the White House. So that could cause some volatility in oil prices tomorrow morning. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about earnings action. You got, tomorrow morning you got JP Morgan. Their EPS is $5.01. Expected move is 3.77%. You got Bank of New York, ticker BK. Their EPS is $1.97. Expected move is 3.71%. Get Delta Airlines, ticker DAL. Their EPS is $1.55. Expected move is 6.94% when they release. In terms of economic reports, it's light today, but we do have Fed speakers. At 12:30 p.m., Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. At 12:45 p.m., we get Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin, and then 6 p.m. tonight, you got New York Fed Bank President John Williams, all speaking today. Okay, now we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the markets real quick to see what we see, anything exciting. I mean, I got 8 Dow stocks higher, and I got 22 lower. That's not positive. All my FANG stocks are in the red. So, yeah, we're definitely looking like we're going to have a negative opening this morning. In Apple, India is proposing rules to require phone makers to share source code. You know, the 6 big hyperscalers are projected to invest at least $3 billion into data center-related investments over the next 5 years, according to Moody's. Wow. Netflix, you know, Trump forwards an article written by a conservative news outlet, OAN, entitled "Stop the Netflix Culture Takeover." Remember, he's friends with Larry Ellison, and Larry Ellison wants to buy Warner Brothers. So that deal that Netflix has to buy Warner Brothers, it's not done yet. It's facing FTC review. Okay, let's talk Dow Jones 30 stocks. UNH, Senate reports UNH used aggressive tactics to boost Medicare payments. Visa, Trump calls for a 10% cap on credit card interest rates. It's creating volatility in the credit card sector. Look at Visa right now. It's down 1.68%. What else do we see? Walmart is going to become a component of the NASDAQ 100 on January 20th. It's going to replace AstraZeneca, AZN. In terms of merger news, ABVX, Lilly said to be making a $17.5 billion bid for the French company. RVMD, Merck remains in acquisition talks, deals valued around $30 billion. ABBV, they're going to be acquiring a manufacturing facility and IP from West Pharmaceuticals, WST. In terms of catalyst calls, Hubs, HUBS was added to the Citibank 30-day catalyst watch list. Other stocks added was Dover, ticker DOV, and ServiceNow, and NOW. They were all added to 30-day catalyst watch list at Citibank. Okay, let's talk about our stock of the day. And, you know, this morning I'm going to go with Delta. It's trading weak this morning, but earnings are due out tomorrow morning. The expected, and the EPS is $1.55, and the expected move is 6.94%. You look at yesterday's call volume, Friday's call volume, 32,000 versus 23,000. That's positive. Open interest is negative, though. 283K versus 356K. So it's not hitting all my typical data points. But the major brokers do like it. They're raising price targets. That's why I like it. And, you know, for me to get in, I'm thinking I might be able to get in, you know, under $71. So I'm throwing out an entry price of $70.85 this morning. I think that might be, you know, an interesting price to get in at. So that's my pick of the day. Delta Airlines, ticker DAL, earnings play. Earnings are out tomorrow morning, $70.85 entry price. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about. Let's move on to our hot off the press segment, where we look for something interesting over the last 15, 20 minutes or so. Trump's going to interview BlackRock's Rick Ryder for the Fed chair role. Walmart up 4% it's up 3.34% in the pre-market after Google partnership and the inclusion of them in the NASDAQ 100. Emergent Biosolutions announces $100 million paydown of term loan principal, EBS. Rare, R-A-R-E, they report preliminary full year 2025 revenues, $672 million to $674 million. Street estimates at $655, R-A-R-E. HD and Kroger KR said to be expanding their relationship with Google Cloud. Papa John's Pizza, PZZA, is the first restaurant to bring omni-channel food ordering capabilities to the market. Is a story that's out there. Uber facing sexual assault trial in Arizona, putting its safety record under scrutiny, that's for sure. Trump says he might keep Exxon out of Venezuela after the CEO called it uninvestable. Global smartphone shipments rose 2% year on year in 2025. Boeing, the FAA, has approved Boeing's largest variant of its best-selling 737 MAX jet, the MAX 10, to move into the second phase of flight testing on the plane's long-delayed certification campaign. That's all I'm seeing this morning. Okay, let's move on into our pick of the day from Friday, which was Apple, ticker AAPL. I mean, the stock opened up at 259.08, and then it fell down to 256.22. I mean, which was below my entry price of 257. Then it rallied and it hit over 260. So, it closed on the day at 259.37. You look at the stock this morning; it's trading a little off, down 0.25%. I'd say it eked out 1%, but it was flat, eking it out. But that's okay. I mean, it was a Friday. There wasn't a whole lot to pick about it in the early morning on Friday. But we're getting into earnings period, so I am getting excited. But Apple flat on the day. I'd call it a flat on the day trade, as the stock's trading, like a dollar higher from where my entry point was. But that concludes NewsWare's Trade Talk for today, Monday, January 12th. Guys, you know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.